Event
We
number
cannot.
50. Today we had three great founders coming from Germany, France, and Croatia. Now, can't wait to introduce them to you. But before introducing your founders, these pitch events are organized by EquityMatch. We're a platform that try as much as we can to help funders to succeed, not only raising funds, but also get knowledge of the venture capital ecosystem. We're very keen to have panel discussion tomorrow. We have an AI panel discussion 5 p.m. UK time with four great experts, as well as we bring funders to our pitch events every week, between 2, 3, even 4 times per week. So today, as I said, one last things. If you want to come to pitch, just email at pitch@equitymatch.co and follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Now, as done my part, I'm going to introduce our three great founders. So let me start with Markus Borlinghaus. So Markus, first of all, thank you so much for taking your time and be with us today and talk about yourself and your startup. But let me introduce yourself before I leave you the talk. Markus, you are the CEO and chairman of Scalable Global Solutions, Croatia, Europe. Digital service is your sector. Seed round 1 million is your task and round. How's it going?
Thank you very much. So I hope everybody can see and hear me. My name is Markus Borlinghaus. I'm originally originating from Germany. In my previous career, I worked for Cisco, Juniper, Microsoft, Xerox, and ATI. I helped to co-build 2 startups that have been successfully sold. The first one was Parabit Networks, 35 million funding, sold for 687 million to Juniper. The second, Whale Communications, which had 9 million funding, sold for 183 million to Microsoft. The idea to Department as a solution I had 1998 on a summit in San Jose. As I said, Department as a solution covers 8 corporate segments which exist in every company: marketing, finance, etc. That makes us industry and sector agnostic. The shortage JSC stands for Joint Stock Corporation. We are a platform focusing in small, medium-sized enterprise from 50 to 5,000 employees and allow them to create their own departments without opening a legal entity. We achieve that so that it is basically like their own departments by globally sourcing talent. So we're not just sourcing them in Croatia for Croatia, we source them worldwide. We have developed a CRM system for our target audience, and we deliver office space and asset management. What's the problem? The cost increase for our target audience was 61% just in the last 4 years. 75% of SMEs in Europe have reported talent shortages and massive problems to find and keep talent. 69% of companies do not have any process automation implemented because the mentality is to do everything themselves, and revenue lost because of not existing staff. Our focus is 96% of the workforce on planet Earth, which is the SMB and SME market. SGS1, imagine you can have a software to optimize your business processes with the department and people, an all-in-one invoice per month. So our software is big enough to optimize the processes, but small enough to not be oversized, which is the problem of the big CRMs in the world, hence why they have not established yet in the small, medium-sized enterprise market. What we do, transparent and automated hiring process through SGS1, our own software, taking care of the whole employee administration, benefit, pension, and health insurance process, and then complete relocation service, visas, work permits, accommodation, office, asset management, facility management, language training, education, and integration. To the leadership team, I introduced myself, but we have Christina Schmidt-Granzerich, who has over 20 years of international experience in recruitment and HR. Luca, over 15 years in building and developing software, process and procedures for our clients, and also R&D with AI. Last but not least, our advisory board member, Jana, I could just win a few months over to join us. She is a lead tech global executive MBA. She's a member of the World Business Angel Investor Forum. She hosts several locations, tech, women in tech, global tech women. She's very engaged, helping us to find investors and also to help us to find partners in various regions in the world. She extensively travels across the world and engages everywhere where she is for our cause going forward. Achievements. We are a startup company in the seed stage asking 1 million. We will break even this year with the customers we already signed. We had, by the end of 2022, 60K in revenue. We will invoice next month 85. So we're growing stable between 10 to 15% revenue month over month. We've signed already 3 million in deals. All our customer departments as a solution are 3-year contracts with the auto renewal rate of one year every single year. If a department grows in the first few months or year beyond 10 people, it would automatically extend to a 60-month contract and then auto renewing every year. So we have grown last year 232% year over year. Quarter over quarter one, we've grown 200%. Quarter over quarter two, 230% again. We had 9 investors by the end of the year. We now have 15. We've grown the company valuation by 31% and achieved a 500K investment last year. That's my overview on the company. The beauty about our business is one number that isn't in there, which is the market potential has grown before Corona to after Corona by 630%, from 100 billion to 630 billion worldwide. The sellable addressable market from 18 to 124 billion. The estimate in the next 18 months for the future of work, which our category is over $1 trillion. I've worked in the tornado market of the 90s and 20th century for Cisco in IT. It was called the tornado market. The sky wasn't the limit. I thoroughly believe that this market in the next 2 decades will be bigger than IT has ever been in 2 decades. Thank you very much. Have a lovely afternoon, and I'd like to talk to you about SGS.
Thank you, Markus. Let me start with the location. Okay, you are giving online service, remotely service. But why did you choose Croatia?
Excellent question. So we built apartments with full people, so the customer can have the software and a marketing department or a programming department, whatever he needs, the same way as he needs it. He gives us the job description, we'll search the people, he interviews them, and he defines which people are good enough by know-how, competence, expertise, skills, and cultural fit. We also provide the entire building, the offices, and the equipment. Why Croatia? 38 years ago, here was a civil war, and everybody fled the country across Europe. So today you have 69% of the population speaking English, 34% speaking German, 14% speaking French, Spanish, Italian, and 5% Benelux and 4% Scandinavian, which was exactly the amount of people as distributed across Europe when they fled the country because of the war. And that's 72 million by potential just here.
I perfectly understand. In terms of service, you are pretty much streamlining the organization of any small company, medium-sized company up to 5,000, which is 5,000 is not that small anymore. Today, you're already generating almost 100K in revenue monthly, which is absolutely a great achievement based on the date when you started. Now, who are today your clients in terms of size?
My clients come from all over different industries, number one. Number two, in all sizes. Let's start with one client in IT who has decided to build his entire front back-end development solution architect for Microsoft Dynamics. It's the third largest integrator for Microsoft Dynamics, having 900 people, as a Société Europe, headquartered in Germany, represented in 7 countries. Second largest client is a company that manages houses and rental for 25,000 units. They have developed their own software. They're now starting with an IT team, then they implement an order entry team, and then a customer service team, because 30% of their clientele doesn't speak German, which is 7,500 people renting do not speak German. So another client has built marketing here, which is a sensor technology company from the automotive industry. The other one is an electrical engineering company sitting in 6th floor up here, which is D-Space, which is a very big company sitting also in several countries. So our customers come from all different sizes, all different industries, and all different departments that they need here.
I mean, in terms of, as you explained before, the main leverage are on talent shortage and also pricing. Let's say running an office is pretty expensive now. Even big companies try to size down as much as they can. And also CRM, which is pretty much complicated for any small company having their own CRM. Many of them today, in mostly all Europe, they don't have CRM at all. They do still everything on paper. So the value proposition you are giving to them, especially the small one, I think is abnormous. But where do you see most of the leverage? Where they come to you? The value proposition that the most attract them?
It's not just developers. As I said, sales, marketing, I just didn't want to extend my answer too long. So we really cover at the moment from our 8 corporate segments, probably 5 with clients already. Each corporate segment has between 10 to 15 departmental solutions. So we're doing today already over 30 departmental solutions that we can offer to the client. Why do the client come to us? Very simple. The increase of operational costs, 61%, number one, the lack of talent, the global pressure like China, India, and other countries, making it more difficult for companies to sustain profitable. So they need to have creative new ideas how to do this. But the biggest boost was a mindset change. Before Corona, small, medium-sized companies would never consider outsourcing for the loss of control of the process and loss of knowledge of the people. Department as a solution has nothing to do with outsourcing. They remain full control. The second reason, people working from home before Corona in small, medium-sized enterprises, unthinkable. So if the disease would have been 2 months, they would have been going back to normal. But after 2.5 years, every SME executive, an SMB executive or family office have realized when my people can work 2.5 years from home and it works perfectly, well, then they can work from Croatia where they cost between 40 to 60% less in operations, plus optimizing the system with the CRM. The last answer to the CRM is Siebel, Ventive, Clarify, Point, Microsoft Dynamics, Oracle, SAP are designed for mega corporations to sell thousands of licenses. Therefore, they need to be feature rich. They cost millions in customizations and adaptations and license fees. Now, our clients would use 1% of the features, but pay for 99, and then lots of customization to downsize it. So those systems were never meant to be designed for our clients. So SGS1, in very simple terms, is a light version of all the other ones. Big enough to optimize the processes, but small enough to make it simple and easy. Hence why our clients use 90% of the features from day one, why an implementation is 2 weeks, a customization is 2 months, mostly done by the client, and operational cost is usually half of what every other system costs.
I mean, an extremely fan of execution in any startup, and when it comes to the scaling side, by far the most challenging. It's not that easy, absolutely nothing easy when you launch a venture. But at the very beginning, it's not that complicated, and when you start growing, you need to scale and finding a serious revenue stream. In your case, from Croatia, how do you think you can scale your company?
Easy. The beauty about my target audience, they are conservative. You don't have a customer who says, well, let's implement 50 or 100 people. They say we'll start with 1, 3, or 5 people. The ramp up phase is 3 months, whatever size they have chosen. Once they see how easy this is, they start to add more and more and more people. So our current experience has shown that every customer, whatever deal he signed at the beginning, is 3 times the size a year later. So one client signed 1 person, 3 years later, they have already ramped up to 3 people, 3 times the revenue. In the following year, they grow another 3 to 600%. Example, our biggest client signed 1 person to start with. We are now 18 months in the contract and it is 10 people. So we are at 9 times the revenue we have been before. First month, 4,000 euros. Last month, 47,000 euros. And he now decided to double the team in the next year. So the beauty is every customer, once he started, he adds people gradually, which is digestible for us. And on top of that, once he has implemented the first department, he realizes I could do another department in there or another department. And because our contracts are 36 months, automatically renewing after that every year, the customer simply grows. And by giving him the software plus the people, we basically delivered business process optimization 2.0.
Do you believe one day you can run an entire company with your system?
Growing with the customers and programming with the customers, I'm absolutely convinced we can, because we don't program just for having new features like big ones sometimes do. We program what customers want for all the different departments. So I'm definitely sure growing with our customers, we constantly develop and program our system and make it more features, but features needed for the business and not features just to put them on the paper.
Markus, thank you so much. Stay there, don't go. And
I don't go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll move to our second founder, Morgane Rousselot, founder and chairwoman and CEO of SeaBeLife Biotech, Moscow, France. Healthtech biotechnology, Series A, 5 million. How's it going, Morgane?
I'm fine, thanks. Thank you. I am Morgane Rousselot, the CEO and co-founder of SeaBeLife. I am a scientist by training and I have 20 years experience in the development of drug substance and drug product in industry, but mainly in biotech company, small biotech company. And I have participated twice to the creation and development of 2 startups before SeaBeLife. Now I will present you the company. So SeaBeLife is a French biotechnology company set up in 2019 by myself and 3 scientists inventors of the technology. In SeaBeLife, we are developing a new disruptive therapeutic approach based on a platform technology and expected to halve the medical burden, including the death rate of severe pathologies without effective treatment. And for that, we have developed first-in-class drugs. They are patented small molecules that can stop cell death by inhibiting 2 recently described regulated necrosis called necroptosis and ferroptosis. They have recently been described as playing key and synergistic role in some severe diseases affecting our vital organs, such as severe diseases of the liver requiring transplantation, or eye diseases leading to blindness, or even severe kidney and heart diseases and neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson or Alzheimer's. In all these diseases, a synergistic induction of regulated necrosis has been observed, leading to cell death and tissue damage and total full organ failure. With our unique therapeutic approach, we can stop cell death by chemically inhibiting regulated necrosis, thereby avoiding cell death escalation and preventing the full organ failure. We are the only biotech company worldwide developing such a therapeutic approach, and we could address many unmet medical needs thanks to it. But we have decided to prioritize our development on the treatment of acute liver injuries, a rare but severe life-threatening disease that is fatal in 30% of cases. We have obtained convincing in vivo proof of concepts. We are currently performing all the IND-enabling studies in order to be ready to start the clinical development in 2024, and we should reach a clinical proof of concept in 2026. This indication will allow us to go quickly to the clinical proof of concept and to validate our unique therapeutical approach in a first severe diseases, giving us the possibility to address multi-organ failure diseases afterwards. Acute liver injury is our gateway indication to go further to acute diseases. And in parallel, we have selected a second asset of our pipeline to prevent the vision loss in patients with dry age macular degeneration, which is the leading cause of blindness in people over 50 years old. For this indication, we have already obtained a first preliminary in vivo proof of concept, and we plan to sign off our first strategic development partnership with a big pharmaceutical company in 2025. We are already in contact with some big pharma company interested by our unique therapeutic approach in this indication. And we have a third program, a drug discovery program to pursue in the meantime the optimization of the other assets of the pipeline in order to secure our development, but also in order to be ready to address neurodegenerative diseases in 2025. Our business model is based on strategic partnership agreements at different stages of our development. For liver diseases, we wish to go to the clinical proof of concept expected in 2026, before signing a partnership agreement with a pharmaceutical company expected in 2027. The pharmaceutical company will take care of the rest of the clinical development, marketing authorization, and commercialization of the drugs expected in 2031 in liver disease, while SeaBeLife will receive early revenues as upfront and milestones payments estimated to reach 115 million euros. And thanks to this upfront, we will be able to pursue the development of our asset in other acute organ failure diseases, such as kidney injuries, for example. For the eye, our second program, we want to sign a strategic partnership agreement for clinical development expected in 2025, which will leverage the valuation of the company with estimated cumulated upfront and milestones payments of 350 million euros. Those two developments will leverage the potential of our unique therapeutic approach to address neurodegenerative diseases, which represent a huge and unmet medical need and a very attractive market. But to achieve valuable partnerships, we need to finance our development with equity and grants. We have already raised 5.5 million euros to finance our development with equity and grants. We are currently preparing our next round, a Series A of 5 million euros to finance the development in 2024 and 2025 to take our lead compound in the liver to the end of the phase 1 of the clinical trial and to be ready to start the clinical proof of concept, and to take the second asset in the eye to the partnership, to our first partnership. Entering at an early stage of development for investors will give you the opportunity to invest at an attractive value for a project for a potentially very high return on investment. So please join us in this fantastic success story. I thank you for your attention, and I can answer all of your questions now.
Thank you, Morgane. Why liver at the very beginning? Why the focus has been on the liver, chronic injury?
So it is acute diseases of the liver. Why the liver? Why acute diseases? Because it is more simple to develop. It is an acute disease, so the clinical development is easier than in chronic diseases. Moreover, acute liver diseases are orphan diseases or rare diseases, so it is easier to develop an asset in orphan diseases than in other diseases, because regulatory procedures are more easy to go to the market and to obtain the authorization to commercialize the compound. And the third reason, it is the fact that our asset, SBL01, is very efficient on liver. So
It's
thanks
also
to this
because-
indication, we will go quickly to the clinical proof of concept than in another indication, and we will validate our mechanism of action very quickly in human thanks to this indication, because it is an acute and an orphan diseases.
This dual model, as you said, you are the only one, but who is competing with you in this field, except for the model used?
For the liver diseases, there are few companies developing assets in liver diseases because they are very complex diseases. For the eye, there are much more companies developing assets to treat dry AMD, but they don't target the necroptosis and ferroptosis pathway. They are developing assets in order to avoid the induction of the pathology, but it doesn't work today. While we are targeting the death of the cells at the very last processes of the cell death.
In terms of phases, as many investors invest in biotechnology, health tech, the major problem is the time. The go-to-market time is very long. So you say phase 2 is 2024, 2025, if I remember well. Where do you see your go-to-market, except for the collaboration you already said having with major players as strategy, maybe even some joint ventures?
So the commercialization of the asset in the liver could start in 2031 for the liver. And for the eye, it could start in 2032. So yes, it is a long time, but as I explained, we are not going to the market with our asset. We want to put in place strategic partnerships during the clinical development at different stages of the development according to the pathologies or the asset we are developing. So we should earn our first revenues in 2025 with our first strategic partnerships in the eye. And that will help us to finance the development of the other asset.
When all the strategy parties have ended and you must go to the market, I suppose, where do you believe that's the time? And where do you think investors can actually exit the investment?
The investors could exit the company if we are acquired by another pharmaceutical company. So this is an option for us to be acquired by a big pharmaceutical company, or even when we will perform a very important Series B or C or an IPO, depending on the market. So those are the possibilities of exit for the investors.
Would you like to articulate more the following round? This is a 5 million round. And how many rounds do you believe you still need to go to strategic partnerships?
With the next round, the Series A, we could go to our first strategic partnerships in the eye in 2025. For the liver, we will need probably another round to finance the clinical proof of concept to reach the strategic partnerships in 2027. And afterwards, we should be able to finance alone all the development thanks to all the upfront and milestones payment we will acquire.
In terms of approval, you need, of course, the regulatory approval. It is something that can challenge you, or you believe you can go smoothly through it?
Sorry, I didn't.
In terms of regulatory approval, right? In Europe, because now you're developing in France, so I believe before will be Europe, and after maybe you're moving to the US as well, where the big are. And say, where is the stage today of the regulatory approval? So how long does it take for your solution, your drug, to be approved as well?
Approved. For the liver, we should get the approval in 2030 for the liver because it is an acute disease, so it is much easier to get an approval. And for the eye, we should get the approval in 2031, our first approval.
Now, in terms of investors, do you have any idea, any investor person in mind that actually would like to have on board with you?
We would like to have for this next Series A for 2024-2025 some venture capitalists specialized in the investment of a biotech company, because we are working on very specific business model and very specific development.
Morgane, thank you so much. Stay there, don't go. I'm moving to our next founder, and after we are all back soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm moving to Daniel Besselink, partner manager of NeoCarbon, Berlin, Germany, environmental service seed around 5.5 million. How's it going, Daniel? You must unmute yourself.
Sorry, yes, unmuted now. I'm doing well. Thanks everyone for watching. My name is Daniel. I'm partner manager at NeoCarbon. I'm originally from the Netherlands, moved to Berlin to join NeoCarbon. I have a background in business administration, and NeoCarbon work together with our CEO and developing partnerships with customers and also companies that work together in our value chain. That's shortly about me. Then I would like to move on to NeoCarbon, because that's what it's all about. NeoCarbon captures carbon at scale with cooling towers. As you know, we are in a huge climate crisis, and to fight the climate crisis effectively, we need to reduce our emissions, but that won't be enough. We need to remove our emissions from the atmosphere. And that means CO2 that's already emitted and is in the atmosphere all around us, we need to take it back and store it permanently away. More precisely, according to the IPCC, the climate panel of the United Nations, we need to remove 6 gigaton of CO2 per year. That is around 10% of what we globally emit. Direct air capture is the leading technology to fight the climate crisis and remove CO2 from the atmosphere at the required scale. The problem with direct air capture, it's a new technology and it's currently too expensive and too slow to scale. Last year, the price of 1 ton of CO2 for direct air capture was over 1,100 euros, and that's just too expensive for mass adoption. That's where NeoCarbon was founded. The goal of the company is to reduce the cost of direct air capture and speed up direct air capture deployment. How we do this is by retrofitting existing infrastructure. What you have to imagine by direct air capture, what increases the cost, is that on the one side, you need an enormous airflow to go through your system because you need a lot of air to basically capture enough CO2. And once your filter is full of CO2, you need a lot of heat for your module. So the filter lets go of the CO2 and you can store it permanently after. Those are two main cost drivers of direct air capture. And by leveraging a cooling tower, you basically can put their airflow into your system, and you have a lot of waste heat because cooling towers are there to cool industrial processes down. So with those two combined, you really decrease the cost. On the other hand, because we operate in existing industrial sites, we can scale way faster, which is also very much needed to fight the climate crisis effectively. And combined, we can really decrease the cost significantly, where we expect 100 to 200 euros per ton in 2030. But what is the potential of our technology? As I said, worldwide, we need to remove 6 gigaton per year of CO2 in 2050. And with our approach of retrofitting existing infrastructure, we can capture 1.3 gigaton of CO2 per year. And that's really an enormous amount, and it's really contributing significantly to make sure that we have a livable planet for generations to come. And our intermediate goal in 2030 is capturing 1 million tons of CO2 per year, and then really the years after really reaching that gigaton scale. What's important to know is that direct air capture is such a new market that by 2030, the market has to develop 8,500 times, and it has to be in a scalable and cost-effective manner. And that's what we are focused on as NeoCarbon. Then our business model. In the beginning, we will focus on companies that need CO2 for their production processes. You can think about vertical farming or companies like carbonated drinks, like Coca-Cola. They need CO2 for their production processes. They buy it off the market now, but they can use our technology to basically deliver them the greenest CO2 available. At scale, we really focus on being carbon negative and capturing CO2 and storing it permanently away. And to reach the scale needed, we believe that with a licensing model, so working together with big industrial players, we can scale fast enough to reach the scale needed and fight the climate crisis effectively. Where we are today, this April, we built our first standalone module called the NeoBox, which is a standalone module, is able to capture CO2 autonomously from the air with a touch of a button. Where do we want to be? In the coming 18 months, we focus on the one hand really on upscaling the capture capacity of the module, so reaching the 500 tons per year. And on the other hand, innovating on our reactor design. That's the part that captures the CO2 with additive manufacturing. And that's completely unique in the industry. And that really decreases the cost of direct air capture technology. And those combined, after 2025, make us really ready for scaling and capture CO2 on a very large scale. So we were founded in January 2022. Last summer, in July, we raised our pre-seed round of 1.25 million by PropTech One and Speedinvest. And last April, we finished our standalone module, the NeoBox. What I said in 2030, aim to capture 1 million tons in 2030, and in 2050, capturing 1 gigaton of CO2 per year. Our core team next to me consists of our two co-founders, René and Sylvain, and we have a very strong technical team with CO2 expertise and also mechanical engineering. That is basically in a nutshell our company. So I would invite everyone to join us in making net zero emissions a reality. And I'm looking forward to the Q&A.
Thank you, Daniel. We really need to lower our emission as much as we can. So business like yours are more than welcome. We talk a lot, we do almost nothing. So I hope we are going to not reverse engineering, but to reverse the process as soon as we can. You did your first pilot now. And now in terms of moving forward and scaling the business, how do you see this happening?
Yes, so only 60 months after incorporation, we will able to develop our first autonomous carbon capture module, and so that's able to run autonomously. In the coming period, we really focus on testing in the field. So we're having advanced conversations now to develop a pilot on an industrial site, because that's of course our target group. The current NeoBox, which we developed, is in our office. It's R&D. And in the coming period, we really focus on testing on industrial sites, attaching it to waste heat. And from there, really upscaling the capture capacity, because 5 tons per year is a very good start, but we need to make bigger modules, and we need to make more modules to really reach the scale needed. And that means in the intermediate term, we will first make a module of 62.5 tons per year. Then 2025, we build a module of 500 tons per year. And then after that, really going into the thousands of tons. And at scale, having the licensing model that really gets you the scaling speed needed. Because as a startup, as such a capital heavy company, it's difficult to raise all the, and to fix all the finances. So a scaling licensing model can really help us move forward to capture the 1 million tons in 2030 and capturing the 1 gigaton in 2050.
Well, the 5.5 million that you are raising now, which is, as you say, your capital intensive, it's not that much. How far you can go with this money? Do you need another couple round after?
Yes, most likely yes. So the 5 million will be primarily used to, on the one hand, basically reach those 500 ton per year module, and on the other hand, innovating in our reactor design. So that's the additive manufacturing of our reactor design. It's basically 3D printing, the most core component of your module. And there's currently, as far as we know, not another direct air capture company doing this. And that really helps to give you a more robust and cheaper system. And that also makes it more ready to scale. So that is our goal for 2025. And then the years after, really upscaling the capture capacity and getting it massive adopted.
When you talk about the licensing to lower the capex that you must put in place to reach your goals, can you elaborate better? What do you mean when you license?
So since we operate on existing industrial sites, we're having conversations now, for example, with cooling tower manufacturers. Those are companies that build cooling towers, and they operate thousands of cooling towers worldwide. What that means is if they license the technology from us, they can have, with every cooling tower, they can have our module next to us. And we know that cooling tower manufacturers have a hard time differentiating themselves. And all their customers, most of the customers, and will be more in the years ahead, want to do something about their emissions, and they can really differentiate themselves by adding our product to their basically product portfolio. And that really helps us to reach the scale needed, because if you imagine that we have, I don't know, thousands of modules worldwide, and we need to have service and maintenance teams all over the world, well, that's of course a different ballgame. Well, those cooling tower manufacturers already have a very big team of service and maintenance that go to their site, I don't know, yearly, and they could also do service and maintenance for our module. And those kind of things really help to reach the scale needed, and also really getting it up to speed, because we need to remove an enormous amount of CO2 per year, and we need to upscale very fast. Just to put it into numbers, all the direct air capture companies worldwide capture, I think, 0.01 million tons of CO2, and we need to reach, with all the carbon removal combined, 6 gigatons. So it's enormous how much we have to scale, and that's why we focus on licensing in the long run.
I mean, how long does it take, and how much to refitting a cooling tower? And
yeah, so
please.
Yeah, so our approach is a modular system design. That's also what you could see in the PowerPoint with the different modules. And what that means is that we do not have to create a different module for each cooling tower or each waste heat stream, because that will require a lot of work. And basically, depending on the capacity which is available, we can either send 10 modules or 8 modules, or depending on the capacity. And there we expect to be operational within 6 months.
In terms of fundraising, which kind of investor would you like to have today with you? What you're looking for this round?
So in general, we are looking for investors that are focusing on hardware. Specifically, in combination with climate tech would be very interesting. And in general, we focus on investors that bring more than just money. So also can, for example, open doors to big industrial players like cooling tower manufacturers, or are very knowledgeable about scaling hardware, or that kind of topics. And yeah, we started fundraising this month. So yeah, every investor that can be interesting would be very interesting to continue discussions.
Daniel, thank you. Stay there, don't go, because we are now bringing back the other two funders.
Yes.
And I will start with you. So behind any funder, there is a huge passion. You need to be very passionate, even though if you are not the co-founder, but you joined the team very early, and you are kind of. So what is driving you and your team and your co-founders to do something similar? And of course, why investor they should invest in your startup?
Yes. So first, regarding motivations, everyone in our team, the co-founders and everyone is very passionate about saving the climate crisis. And we know that with the current trend, we are not going to make it. We will not reach a livable planet. So we need very strong innovation to reach the scale needed. And that's why I think everyone is very excited that with NeoCarbon, we have a very good cause. And you see that in the team, that everyone is very enthusiastic about that. And I think why we're a good investment is what I said about direct air capture. We know this market is going to scale enormously in the years ahead. It's really in the early days. We know that the problem with direct air capture is that it's too expensive currently, and it's relatively difficult to scale. And we cover both of those problems by our approach of retrofitting existing infrastructure. So really scale fast, really get the cost down. And I think that is very useful also as a business case for investors.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Morgane.
Yes, so why invest in our project? Because you will be part of a fantastic medical success story. We are developing a unique therapeutic approach to halve the medical burden and even the death rate of severe pathologies. We have two main programs in preclinical development, one to treat severe liver diseases, which is fatal in 30% of cases, and the other to prevent the vision loss and avoid blindness in patients with dry age macular degeneration. Moreover, our business model is clear and secured and relies on strategic partnerships at different stages of our development, which give us the opportunity to earn attractive revenues of several millions before the drugs are commercialized, and then royalties on the net sales. So yes, please join us to halve the medical burden and even the death rate of those severe pathologies.
What is the passion behind? Yes, scientist anyway. But why exactly you are so motivated? Be a scientist is something, and running a startup, it's another business. It's very, very engaging and very tiring. So why have you decided to do this?
Sorry, why I decided to
start your business? What the motivation behind?
the motivation, it is the only possibility for us to take our compounds to the patients. It is to do business. In order to develop our asset, we need lots of money, and we have to do business to have this money to take our compound to the patients and to save lives.
Thank you so much, Morgane. Markus, you are the last, of course, not the least. And please, first of all, what's your motivation? And secondly, why investing?
Okay, two good questions. What's my motivation? I had the luck in my life to work for great companies, Cisco, Juniper, Microsoft, etc. Meet great people, but also being on the cutting edge of technology. Cisco acquired 1995 technology that allowed them to do switching. Then they invested in development of software, which led to a technology which is called today WebEx, which is video conferencing. So in 1999, Cisco launched video conferencing, and in 2000, they reduced worldwide 60% of the office space. So for me, home office is reality for 23 years. For my target customer, small, medium-sized enterprises, before Corona, home office, maybe board members, but everybody else went to the office. And the benefit to our clients is we save them. They don't need to open a company. They can have full control. They don't need to hire an overlay management team, which costs money. They don't need to run a balance sheet in the country or the mother company. And the motivation came on the speech 1998 from John Chambers, who said, one day, the internet will change how people work, live, play, and learn. I just took that idea to the next level. And the last reason why to invest in our company and why I started this is we always looked at it from the benefit for the client. Let's take one moment to look at the benefit from an employee perspective. The future of work, it's what we call this. Today, if you want to change your job, you need to quit your job. You need to find a new company. You need to start a new social economic environment. You need to prove yourself beyond the probation period that you're worth climbing up the ladder. And you might lose some of the benefits you had initially with your last job until you're worthy to get them in the next job. Now, in this company, somebody can start to work in his profession for a client from Sweden in aeronautics, let's say a front and back end developer, or a salesperson in another company. And because we inform our staff once a month on a lunch about every new deal and every new customer that is coming. So after 2 years, a person could say, can I work for this company, the same job, but the next level up from a junior developer to a senior developer? In this case, we would talk to the client saying, you had him for 2 years. If we find for you a person that is good enough for you, and he or she would train that person to your satisfaction, would you let go of that person? If the customer says yes, our employee would leave on a Friday the office, having worked for company A. He would come back on a Monday, going few offices further, working for company B. Does he have to give up his job? Does he have to relocate to another country or city? Does he have to start a new social economic environment? Does he lose any of his benefits? No. And that's why we call that the future of work solution. And after Corona, you can't turn back the wheel. Once you've given something to people, you can't take it away anymore, at least for the mass of the customers.
That's completely true. Markus, Danielle, Morgane, thank you so much for taking your time, stay with us, and give us your great ideas and share with all our audience. Thank you to everyone watching today pitch event, and we are back again on Thursday, 5 p.m. UK time, with other great founders. And thank you again to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.